Last year, the Jewish people received the horrifying news that 3 teens in Israel had been abducted. And during the massive manhunt that followed, all of us, united as one, raised our voices and poured our hearts out in prayer and in vigils and in campaigns, begging God to return them safely. Sometimes when we ask God for something, the answer is yes. But other times, as in this one, tragically, the answer is no. At the heart-wrenching funeral that followed, once again the entire Jewish people came together as one to say goodbye, to pay our respects, to cry, and to mourn.
So the families of the 3 boys wanted to do something to honor the memories of their sons. They wanted to recapture some of the unity that they had experienced and from which they had received so much comfort during their ordeal. So they established a Unity Day. The first one will be this week on Wednesday, June 3rd. A Unity Day is very appropriate this week because there's a message hidden at the beginning of this week's Torah portion about Jewish unity. God tells Moshe to instruct his brother Aharon, Aaron, the high priest, how to light the menorah. And then we're told that Aharon did so. Rashi, the greatest of the commentators, explains that the Torah uses that phrase to teach us the praise of Aharon, that he didn't deviate. Now, there are many other times when we're told the same thing, that Aaron did exactly as God had commanded. Would we have suspected otherwise? You think Aaron would have lit the candles a different way or done the service differently than God had commanded? After all, 2 of his sons had previously died when they brought a sacrifice that had not been commanded. So of course Aaron was going to listen to the exact details that God commanded him. So what's going on? I heard a beautiful explanation once. The Torah is teaching us that Aaron didn't deviate in any instance, not only when he was performing the priestly service, but also in his personal life. We know that Aaron was the ultimate Rodef Shalom. He used to run after peace. If 2 Jews were in a fight, he'd run to each one successively and tell each one, the other guy feels terrible, he wants to apologize to you. And then they'd come together and they'd make up. We would say that was a lie, an understandable one, an acceptable one, even an important one, but a lie nonetheless. No. God's telling us here that wasn't a lie. He didn't deviate from the rule about always telling the truth and distancing yourself from falsehood, because Aaron was able to peer deep into the heart and the soul of each one of those Jews who had stood together with one heart, one goal, one purpose at Mount Sinai when they received the Torah, and they did not want to be in a fight. Deep down, they really did want to apologize, so it wasn't a lie. And so on this Unity Day, let's try to recapture some of that unity that we once had when we stood at the base of Mount Sinai, and that we had last year when we were praying and hoping and then mourning and comforting during the ordeal of the 3 boys. You can try to recapture some of that with a fellow Jew. Maybe somebody who looks different or is more observant or less observant. Invite someone over or invite yourself over. Or you can recapture some of that unity within your own family or with a friend with whom you've been on the outs or in a fight or a feud.
We know how painful it is for parents when children fight, and we know how heartwarming it is for them when children get along.
Similarly, for God, it's incredibly painful when any of his children are in a fight, and it warms his heart when they make up and they get along.
So on Unity Day, let's try to recreate some of the incredible solidarity that we had in order to honor and lift up the souls of those 3 boys in heaven.